Rarely has mankind hesitated to eradicate the creatures that stand in the path of his conquest. If we find intelligent species, ritual extirpation, undesirable beings, odors from another world, the rest must be destroyed. Is it possible that our dark past has repeated itself? Watch them and pray.
Guru readings, ladies, gentlemen, government agents, gym resolutioners who gave up and will try again next year, and anyone who might be listening. This is Close Encounters of the Podcast Kind. I'm your host, Tasker, and we have Nick.
Ooh, man, you gym resolutioners. Look, if you're going to fucking pay for a gym membership and take up precious space during these trying times at the gym,
right,
stick with it, all right? I can't tell you how many years. Oh, I could tell you how many years. Probably 6 or 7 years of my life has been dedicated to fighting off New Year's resolutioners in the gym for the first week of January every single year. And then 75% of them are gone by the first week. 80% of them are gone by the second week, and they're all fucking gone by the next week. All right. So just do yourself a favor. Grab an attainable goal, one that you actually can do. Like, hey, put down the fork every once in a while. You know what I mean? Stay out of the goddamn gym. I'm fucking tired of it.
But I mean, I thought you'd be happy that they're only there for like a week. So that's just like 1 week of bullshit, but then they're gone for the rest of the year.
I got things to do at the gym. I don't even have a week to spare with these they're like baby birds, dude, with like very fragile, hollow bones, right? And not only are they taking up precious space, but they're also very delicate, and they need Sherpas, they need guides, and I don't have time for this shit. Like if I'm trying to do legs and I'm trying to do a fucking hamstring curl machine, and you're over there curling on it because you don't know what it is and you refuse to read the diagram, fucking get out of here. You know what I mean?
Gains wait for nobody, huh? So it's
nobody.
Yeah. Very, very time sensitive, and there's only so many times you could deal with someone doing curls in the squat rack, or using the bench as a way to just get a little sit down, catch your breath, and not use the bar at all.
Yeah. Don't even get me started on that shit. I think that it should be legally allowed for us to drop dumbbells on people's feet like that, like people who there's like a little warning, I
love your major pro bullying stance that you've taken many different days.
As I get older, I just realized I probably turned out better than I would have if I wasn't bullied for the shit that I did. So
well, you were bullied into getting your hair cut, right?
Yeah, the mullet is no more. I do not have a luscious, long ass, almost shoulder length mullet anymore. It's kind of sad.
It's weird. Yeah, you just look like you don't live out of your basement in a completely secluded place away with all your radios covered in tinfoil.
So you think that I look presentable now?
Yeah.
Did I not look presentable with the mullet? Did I look like a fucking weirdo?
You look like a guy who talks about Bigfoot on a podcast.
Well, you know what? You're not wrong. So now I just look like a cleaner version of that guy.
Basically, well, you look more incognitus. Like you look a little bit more like I would say. What is it? What was it? Your description was pretty good. You look like a strapping young Republican.
Yeah, I look like I'm about to put my suit and tie on with a little lapel pin and go to my next club meeting.
Yeah, but with like a little degree of like edge and like wokeness to it, because you got the glasses, you got the hoodie and stuff like that. But yeah, in a suit though, like I could see like, oh yeah, like business major. I could see this guy getting fucking caught on TikTok saying some off-color things at a Starbucks.
Yeah, wait, what happened at Starbucks?
Oh no, I'm just saying in terms of like,
just like in general.
Yeah. Starbucks.
Yeah, I still do that too. I would still do that.
Yeah, they just haven't filmed you yet.
Yeah, and because I don't wear a suit, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you also break their phone whenever they try it. Oh my god. Well, we're finally back to a normal episode. It was a nice 2 weeks off. Obviously, like we still uploaded 2 episodes, but those are the kickback ones, kind of our blow off, easygoing times. And it was a much needed vacation, I think, for all of us. The episodes I know were kind of short and silly, but like we're back to business, back to Bigfoot, back to some big deal stuff. Before we get into that, 2 orders of business we got to get over with. One is, of course, the horoscope, which is to sort of like, catch the vibe of the episode, before the episode starts. But before that, somebody finally took us up on our coffee donation system that we've established, where if you donate money, we'll do like one little request, or we'll do like, we'll do a shout out. We'll say whatever you want. And somebody has finally took us up on that and donated. I don't know exactly how much, but thank you, Dave, for the coffee donation. And the request was that Nick needs to sing Barbie Girl for 2 minutes. And there's an additional request, which was not paid for, but we will oblige this time. That sounds so shitty to say it like that.
Because you sound like a Ferengi from Star Trek, which is basically just Star Trek Jews.
Jesus Christ. It's actually, that's not a proper phrase, because Jewish people don't think Jesus was the Messiah. Anyways, normally it's just one request per donation. We will oblige because you're the first one, man. And also because the second one was pretty funny. So yeah, so here's Nick, are you all good to go? Are you all warmed up? You got your your pipes all lubricated?
I haven't listened to this song in a long time, so like I've been putting it on like every once in a while the last couple of days. I'm ready. 2 minutes of and I will try my best to differentiate my voice between Barbie and Ken, because they do switch off on this song.
Perfect. And if we want to keep things thematic, you can imagine in this case, use your wonderful brain that you have, listener. And whenever Nick does the Ken part, imagine it as like a romance of Bigfoot and maybe like Nick in a wig or something like that, or whatever gets you off.
Yeah, whatever turns you on, man. Whatever gets this thing going.
All right. Do you want me to time it, or you got it?
You time it. 2 minutes.
All right, 2 minutes on the dot. And all right. Now remember, everybody, we got paid to do this, so we have to do it.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Ready?
Yeah.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
I'm a Barbie girl in a Barbie world. Life in plastic. It's fantastic. You can brush my hair, undress me everywhere. Imagination. Life is your creation. Come on, Barbie, let's go party. I'm a Barbie girl in a Barbie world. Life in plastic. It's fantastic. You can brush my hair, undress me everywhere. Imagination. Life is your creation. I'm a blonde bimbo girl in a fantasy world. Dress me up, make it tight. I'm your dolly.
Yum.
You're my doll, rock and roll. Feel the glamour in pink. Kiss me here, touch me there. Hanky panky.
Whoa.
You can touch, you can play. If you say I'm always yours. Ooh, I'm a Barbie girl in a Barbie world. Life in plastic. It's fantastic. You can brush my hair, undress me everywhere. Imagination, life is your creation.
45
Come on,
seconds.
Barbie, let's go party. Yeah. Come on, Barbie, let's go party. Ooh, come on, Barbie, let's go party. Yeah. Come on, Barbie, let's go party. Ooh. Dun, 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 dun.
Instrumental.
Make me walk, make me talk, do whatever you please. I can act like a star, I can beg on my knees. Come jump in, bimbo friend, let us do it again. Hit the town, fool around, let's go party.
Jesus Christ.
You can touch, you can play. If you say, I'm always yours. How was that? We had 2 minutes?
Instrumental. All right.
Woo!
We'll call it at that because we have a show to do. Maybe we'll do minute and a half or minute limits on the requests. But that was very good. That was very fun. And I believe there was one more request you had to do.
All right. I will say, I have to say this, that the earth is round and it is not flat. It is a round sphere.
It's nice to see you waking up and ever since you cut your hair, Nick, you've never been the same.
Hey man, look, this wasn't my idea. All right,
this isn't me. So yeah, of course, we're giving you that freebie there. But so how's it feel, Nick? We did it. We finally sold out.
Feels, you know what? I feel like a dancing monkey, and I've never been happier.
Yeah, that's a couple bucks off of hosting. So, hey, not bad.
Yeah, I'll take it. And look, it's like I told Tasker when this first happened. I was like, look, man, it's kind of like OnlyFans minus the adoration and thousands of dollars.
Yeah, and no butthole yet.
Yet, but I mean, shit.
Yeah, I mean, God knows. But see, everybody, this is just sort of the proof. We will follow through. We will do, we'll do what you say. Just, it has to be reasonable because we got a show to do. Obviously, I don't expect we have a whole lot of, requests to do. So we just, we can't spend unless it's like if it's like over encumbered, then maybe we'll just start doing them on kickbacks. But for now, it's right in the beginning of the episode. So, hey, hopefully you get your money's worth.
Yeah, enjoy that. Fap to it.
So thanks a lot, Dave, for the money. Hope you enjoyed that. Hope it was worth the money you paid. But back to the show, huh?
Back to the show. Horoscopes. I think we have to do horoscopes.
Yep. So let's blast through these real quick. Do you want me to get it started?
Yes, please.
All right. So for me, and again, horoscopes, that's our way of asking the stars, is this episode going to be good? To which the stars say, for me, intellectual or spiritual concepts that you're trying to grasp may seem a little elusive, Scorpio. Don't try to push yourself too hard to understand them today. You'll only confuse yourself that much more. You're not losing it. Your mental biorhythms are simply low. Instead, look at something else for a while and let the information churn around in your subconscious. It may hit you tomorrow and you'll want to cry, Eureka! Be patient with yourself. Love is calling your name. Oh, wait, no. Oh, that was a advertisement at the bottom. It's because then after it says, get an accurate prediction today. So are you meaning to tell me we've been doing inaccurate predictions this whole time?
You know what? They kind of...
Ugh. So looks like to me I need to sort of, look on the spiritual side of things. So maybe as we talk about Bigfoot today, I'll sort of, try to not look at things on the physical realm.
That's a very good idea because we're going to get into that shit. All right.
Yeah, we're getting to the fun, juicy part of Bigfoot. We had our intro like a month ago. So if y'all haven't listened to that one before, yeah, it's good, and I think it's worthwhile. But if you want to get to the juicy bits, you want to get the type that you read the back of the book before the beginning. Then hey, it's your life. You do what you want to do. For my star ratings today, which by the way, I don't know if we ever established this is part of the horoscope. It's on the same page, but my sex is a 4 out of 5. My hustle is a 4 out of 5. My vibe is a 4 out of 5, and my success is a 3 out of 5. Nick, I think your singing has reinvigorated my soul.
Hey, I aim to please, and I am nothing more. I am nothing short of a fucking performer. Okay, so you're welcome. Broadway people, if you're listening, I'm down. If you guys are doing Wicked again, let me know. I'm in.
But you do have demands.
Yeah, I have many demands. If I see one fucking green M&M in my green room, I will lose my shit. All right.
That's a nice reference. Was that oh my God, it wasn't Def Leppard. It was oh God, don't tell me. They did was it Aerosmith?
I don't know.
Oh yeah, the whole for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, there's that one band who legendarily requested no green M&Ms or no green Skittles or something like that. And I think the reason they did it, because everyone's like, what an asshole, they're just abusing their power. I think the reason they did it was, one, to see if the crew, if like the production company was actually listening to them. But also, two, I think they were just being assholes.
Yeah. Once you hit that kind of level of fame, you
kind of just get away with it. But anyways, what about you?
But the green ones do taste the worst.
They're all chocolate.
Just fucking with you.
Whatever.
Just trying to gaslight you. All right.
Thanks.
A close friend or love partner might be feeling a little blue, Cancer, and could therefore ring you up wanting a sympathetic shoulder to cry on. You'll be of great help to this person this way, but don't let your friend distract you from other things you need to do. You may have errands to run, people to see, tasks to take care of. Give your friend as much time as you feel appropriate, then make your excuses. It's tell me to lie. Tell me to lie, my friends.
Just straight deceit.
Because they could have said, then tell your friends you have shit to do, But
Right.
no, it's like then give them excuses. Be like, look, man, I know your dick fell off, but I got dinner's on the stove. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like 1 PM. So
I'm almost starting to think that after how many, like 70 episodes or 80 plus episodes of using this horoscope site, I don't think it's that good.
I mean, shit, I could have told you that like fucking 80 episodes ago.
So I mean, we don't want to pay for it, and I don't know. Maybe next episode we could do an experiment and maybe try a new horoscope site. But or maybe that's just kind of the joy of it, is the fact that it's kind of shit. But we've been using it for so long. Maybe also we're just kind of getting tired of it. Maybe we need to swap it up a bit. So I don't know. Maybe we're hitting history here.
Maybe next time let's try a new one.
Yeah, that might be good. Because it was fun using the shitty one because it just never really tells us anything helpful or really anything about the episode at all. But hey, anyways, star ratings.
Oh yes, star ratings. Okay, everything except for sex is a 4 out of 5. My sex is a 2 out of 5.
Damn, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it is. My stomach kind of hurts. Maybe that's I don't have a libido right now.
Yeah, tummy ache is a totally fair reason to say you're not in the mood.
I feel like it just affects everything down there. You know what I mean?
It does. No, totally. Like, I mean, have you ever like had to like go at it and like you kind of had to like go to the bathroom and like it's distracting.
It's really distracting and you don't know what to concentrate your like, your muscular contractions on. Do I keep it on my stomach to make sure I don't shit myself, or do I keep it on my groin to keep my erection up? You know what I mean? So like, it's a difficult situation.
Yeah. Well, my ultimate fear is like, it just depends on like the severity of like how much you got to go to the bathroom. But like, what if like at the nut, like, what if you just lose control and you just shit everywhere?
Then you know what? They probably have a name for that.
I think, and some people probably are into that kind of stuff. We discussed actually in one of our kickback episodes that neither of us subscribe to that sort of fetish. That shit's weird and gross. But that's a real fear though. And I think I've actually had a point where I was like, okay, we need to stop. I need to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Know your fucking worth, King. Like, know what you're fucking, what you're willing to put up with. That's my Giga Chad input for the day.
Yeah. And then when you leave for the bathroom, you tell her you stay in that position.
Yeah. You fucking don't move.
I'll be back for that.
Take 2 hours to take a shit.
Stay toxic.
Yes. You heard it here, folks. Oh man. All right. Well, now's a better time. There's no better time than now fuck me.
Hey man, I know idioms are hard.
They are tough. There's fuck it. Whatever, man. Let's just get into it.
I agree. Let's do this thing. Okay.
Wow.
Keep it in.
It's quite the vocal warm up.
Thank you. I have to, man. I have to make sure, because after that singing, dude,
it's rough. It's rough. You really put your heart and soul to that.
All right. So hello, everybody. Welcome back to a regularly scheduled.
See, we haven't been doing fuck.
None of us can fucking talk. It's like a goddamn. It's like an ABA facility in here, dude.
Yeah, dude. We're trying so hard to be professional now that we're back to our usual main series, and we're fucking up left and right.
Regularly is a difficult word to say fast. Okay, so I just said it slow, but I had to really enunciate those syllables. Let me try it again.
Right.
Hello, all, and welcome back to a regularly scheduled episode of CEO TPK. Now, thank you for your patience as we made our way through the holiday season with our 2, fun episodes, but it's a new year and we're back at it again. In today's episode, we will continue our journey through the smelly and hairy world of Bigfoot, and this will actually be the concluding episode of the series. I thought it might have been 3. Turns out we can do it in 2 to make it better for you guys, all right? Because otherwise it was going to be a bunch of filler shit, and you don't want that.
Yeah, you've already had half a month of filler. So I think it's about time we get into the meat. I'm pretty sure in the first episode we said something about 3 or 4 parts because we were worried it was going to be a 4-parter like Dahmer, but surprise, guess not.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of information on Bigfoot out there, but that's the problem. There's a lot of information, and what do I pick out to make what do I pick out and make it significant, right?
Right.
There's a lot of shit to sift through. But this is what I did, and I think you guys are going to enjoy it. Now, in the last episode, we gave some pretty good background information of considering big feet. Now, we also talked about the many different Bigfoot-esque creatures that have been sighted around the world. And in this episode, we will be talking about a very famous Bigfoot encounter, a smaller Bigfoot encounter, and then finally, we're going to be getting into the theories about what exactly big feet are. So, without further delay, put on some suspenders, drink some pre-hunting brews, and make sure to wear an orange vest for your safety when you're out hunting, because we're diving right in.
Oh, that orange vest is paramount. Isn't there like a shit ton of people who get like shot accidentally because they weren't wearing the vest or something?
It happens, man. It happens.
Ugh, that's scary, man. Yeah, wear your vests.
Yeah. So, we really should kick this episode off by discussing the most famous Bigfoot sighting / encounter in history. And of course, I'm talking about the Patterson-Gimlin encounter. Y'all know where this was going.
Yeah, so that's the if you've ever Googled Bigfoot, I think the picture you see is from that encounter, right?
Yes, it is the 324th, or hold on, no, I got this, the 352nd frame of that film, I believe. That famous picture.
Wonderful. Yeah, the one where he's like, like walking like a dope. Which actually I'll save that for later because I have an opinion on that. Well, not an opinion, actually. I think it is a fact, but we'll see.
Okay. All right. Remember, there are no such things as facts, right?
Good. That's a good way to start this off.
All right. Now, as Tasker said, I'm sure most of you out there, especially if you're listening to this podcast, know exactly what I'm talking about. But to those of you who don't know the name Patterson-Gimlin exactly, you for sure know the film and photos that I'm about to discuss, right? It is the epitome of fucking Bigfoot, just in general, right? Google searches, books, whatever, bro. Films. This is it. This is Bigfoot. This is the most famous shit you'll ever see. Now, the date is Friday, October 20th, 1967. Location of our story is Northern California, more specifically, northwest of Orleans, California, next to Bluff Creek, which is within the Six Rivers National Forest. Very beautiful place. I've seen pictures of it. I've seen videos of it, the surrounding areas. Very, very cool. Does kind of look like a place Bigfoot would live. Now, this encounter is centered around 2 men. One, Roger Patterson, and Robert Gimlin. These 2 men were riding on horseback upstream alongside Bluff Creek when they saw an uprooted tree near a bend. Upon further inspection, I wrote inspection in the outline and completely disregarded my own writing. Upon further inspection, they saw a crouched figure, like a big dark mass near the turn, right? And basically how it was explained is that in the roots of these trees seemed to be like a nest of sorts. Like, because it's a really big tree that was uprooted and overturned. And then it seemed like a nest in this. And then as they got closer to the roots in the bend, it wasn't a nest. It was a thing crouching there. Oh, that's what they saw.
I see. Because I was going to say, we established in the previous episode that Bigfoots can make nests. So I thought that's where that was going. But no, the nest itself was a thing.
Like crouched, yeah. And so again, upon further, they saw that black mass. Now, the 2 were shocked when they saw it. Of course, I would be too. Looking back on the initial sighting, Patterson and Gimlin tried estimating the height of the creature once it stood up. Patterson first estimated that it was 6'6" to 7 foot tall. But later, he changed his estimate to it being around 7'6", which is, pretty goddamn tall.
Gigantic.
Gimlin, on the other hand, estimated that the creature was roughly around 6 feet tall. So, like, maybe my height.
Okay, so Patterson's he's the exaggerator of the two.
I mean, yes, he is the exaggerator, but there's some stuff to talk about him at the end of this that is just, he seems to be really liking this. You know what I mean? This whole thing.
I see.
Now, over the years, because, and again, this is the most infamous fucking thing out there about Bigfoot, many people have attempted to give their own estimates of the creature's height by using the video and, different focal points as references and all that, fucking geometry and all that stuff I don't understand, right?
Right.
Now, for example, anthropologist Grover Krantz, this sounds German, examined the footage and said that Patterson was closer in his initial estimate and that 7'6" was too tall.
Yeah, that's huge. Like almost 8 feet. Okay, that's almost 2 of me.
Yes, but remember we established on the last episode that this could very well be an average height for a male Bigfoot.
Yeah. Okay. So true, but for this one in particular, I just think it's more of a criticism on fucking Patterson's height sense.
I think his depth perception is off, to be honest with you.
Is he the type where he's like, yeah, man, it's more like 7-8 inches, it's more like, kind of around there.
Yeah, maybe 10. I don't know. Maybe on a good day, maybe 12,
Yeah, it just kind of, it just feels right to me. I don't need a ruler. No.
Yeah, no. It gushes. I don't know.
Right.
Now, okay. Now, in this situation, it's safe to say that the creature in the film realistically is somewhere between 6 foot to 6'6", because first of all, that's not very extraordinary. And second, if Gimlin, who was there, and most people who have analyzed the footage are saying that it's probably in that range, it's probably in that range.
Yeah, that's why we do peer review.
Right. You always got to cross-check that shit, because if you have one crazy person saying it was fucking 10 feet tall and you believe him, and everybody else is saying that it's 6'6" or so, and who's the idiot now? You know what I mean?
Right. Well, and also too, it just makes the original hypothesis just that much more unbelievable and that much more less authentic. People are going to doubt it, because if it's just one dude who's been huffing paint all the afternoon, you're going to be like, yeah, I'm sure. But if you have a bunch of other people, even if they're not scientists, when you have a bunch of people and you could sort of like, oh, I thought it was this high, and you can kind of take an average of that number, then it's like, okay, then safe to say it's probably around that range than the initial like super exaggerated assessment.
Right. And I personally, from what I know about Bigfoot, I feel like it's definitely closer to the 6'6" range.
Yeah.
Because in my opinion, Patterson's a bit of an overestimator. Gimlin's a bit of an underestimator. That's how I look at it.
Yeah. And it's because also too, one of the big like recurring elements of when it comes to when people see Bigfoot is that he's big. It's in his name. He's huge. So it's like, if he's only 6 feet, the height of just a tall person, that's not extraordinary. That wouldn't stand out. So that's why I think, probably 6.5 feet. That sounds pretty much like a good baseline to go off of in terms of like initial descriptions, if it's all going to line up.
Yeah. So at least we agree on that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. See, we can agree when we have to.
We can be diplomatic.
Yes. Now, Patterson also estimated the distance between the two men and the creature during the initial sighting, and he said that was roughly 25 feet away or so, which in all honesty, that's pretty damn close. When you're out in the wilderness. So I don't know.
Right.
Now, the figure that they saw was described as being a bipedal, ape-like creature that had dark hair, and many people have I think that is quite arbitrary, but they've given their opinions about what color they think the hair is on in the Patterson-Gimlin film. It's all bull. I was going to go through all the different ones that people have said. Who gives a shit? All right. In my personal opinion, I will describe it as being dark brown with just the slightest hint of red in there.
I could see that. Yeah, I'm looking at it now. Yeah, I could see that. You're right. I think arguing over its like fur color, that's a little bit of a That seems a bit like missing the point.
Yeah, that's like, I get it. You guys are excited, especially when this shit first came out, but let's move on. We got to figure out if this thing's real.
Right.
Now, also, as a side note, something that we need to talk about, the Bigfoot in this film is most likely a female, and two things give this away. One is, as we've decided earlier, it's shorter than many other encounters when those are generally thought to be male, right? And we talked about last episode that females and children are generally smaller, or I think we talked about children, but I should have mentioned that females are generally smaller.
Okay.
And two, in the film, it has bodacious boobies. All right.
Bodacious.
So it's probably a female.
Okay.
Just swinging around,
Just nice. Well, that's how humans, we used to be like that. Now we got to cover it all up.
Yeah, it's a damn shame. I say burn bras again. Let's do it. Let's bring the 70s back. Let's burn some bras.
Oh yeah. Well, that's like, because remember the free the nipple movement?
Yeah, and they're like, and I understand what they were doing, but I'm like, you're not like winning anything. Like, if anything, like I think we're all winning.
Yeah.
Like, it's
Well,
just
that's what was surprising to me, is that there was such like, because of course a bunch of like, evangelical, no, that's like it's impure, whatever the fuck. It's like, y'all, like, why are we pushing back on this? Like, this seems like something like seems like something we should kind of all, I think everybody wins on this one. Like, I don't understand what, but hey, welcome back to Quaker America.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, never mind. Okay, so I should probably not say that. All right.
Right.
Now, for the main portion of the encounter, I thought that it would be best to read this straight from the source, so I didn't lose anything in translation, because what they were talking about was kind of convoluted. I was going to try and like paraphrase the best, but I think it's just best if I straight up read it from the source. All right.
Okay.
Quote, Patterson said that his horse reared upon sensing the figure, and he spent about 20 seconds extricating himself from the saddle, controlling his horse, getting around to its other side, and getting his camera from a saddlebag before he could run toward the figure while operating his camera. He yelled, "Cover me," to Gimlin, meaning to get the gun out, basically. They were armed. Because, back in the day, I fucking would be too if I was at a national forest.
Smart.
Gimlin crossed the creek on horseback after Patterson had run well beyond it, riding on a path somewhat to the left of Patterson's and somewhat beyond his position. Perez, a Bigfoot investigator, estimates he came within 60 to 90 feet of Patty. And Patty is a nickname that has sometimes been given to the female Bigfoot in this film, just as a heads up.
I see.
Yeah, Patty caked them titties, that's why. Then
of course.
Rifle in hand, he dismounted, but he did not point it at the creature, which is good. You don't want to like threaten something like that.
Well, yeah, especially if you're trying to both like, even if you're like, you're on the hunt and stuff like that. I guess maybe if you're hunting it, maybe, but they were just trying to get it on camera, and they don't want to spook it because they don't know what the hell this thing is and what it's capable of, how smart it is or how not smart it is. And I think that's a safe assumption of when you see something humanoid, you should probably assume that there's some degree of intelligence there.
Exactly. And you know what? You would make a damn fine Starfleet officer, my friend. There are so many humanoids in this universe, and with the way that our physiology is, the way that our nerve system, our central nervous system is set up, it does, like you said, it shows a degree of intelligence.
Right.
And I think that and we'll get into this in the theories, but I think it's very good that you don't point guns at Bigfoot, because I think that's when things start to get a little aggressive, in my opinion, but we'll talk about that later.
Well, also too, you also don't know, it's when it's also a big hulking thing, you don't know what resistances it might have, because, I mean, granted, at least on the planet Earth, the gun can take down most things, I'm assuming. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like most animals will go down with a gunshot. Am I right?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what kind of gun, but for the most part, like hunting rifles and stuff, yeah, I mean, a bear's going to take a couple shots, moose is going to take a couple shots, but, when it comes to other things, I've shot cows and pigs and bald eagles and fucking
if it's a national bird, it's on your list.
I haven't really shot anything myself, but
what was the sorry, speaking of state birds and national treasures, the other day this came up, and I remember forever ago, because you wanted me to be more in touch with your Hawaiian heritage. You made it imperative to know two things. One, which is soy sauce is shoyu.
Yeah.
And two, which is the national fish of Hawaii. Was it the fish? I think the humu humu nuku nuku apua'a.
Wait, say it again.
Humu humu nuku nuku apua'a.
Humu humu nuku nuku apua'a. Yeah, man. Good job. I'm proud of you. Remember it after all this time. All this time.
It's been years, and it's still up here. I heard it I heard something similar to that. I'm like, wait, I know that. And that just came up recently.
That's awesome, man. I'm proud of you. Although I should clarify before we get a bunch of angry emails from Hawaiians that I don't know 100% if all families in Hawaii call soy sauce shoyu, but in my family we do. It might have something to do with the
Japanese.
Yeah, but that was more of a rule for you to get along with my family.
Yeah.
Than anything.
And it worked. They loved it. They lit the fuck up like crazy. I had just had no idea it would be like that easy.
Yeah, dude, they were like, this fucking cracker. You know what I mean?
You're all like, right, honky.
My cracker,
Pats on the back and all that shit. I was able to eat the barbecue.
Yes, and I will say, okay, to replace that rule then, spam. Everything.
Yeah.
Versatile. You can do, masubi, you could do eggs. Fucking just eat it plain. I don't give a fuck. Spam. That's the way to do it.
See, I can do spam, but it's got to be like cooked a bit. Like I like a little brown on it, and then I'll be fine. It's just very salty. I know I've talked shit about spam over the years, but it can be good if you prep it right.
Yeah, it's a mystery meat, so you don't have to worry about where it's coming from because it's a mystery. So don't worry about it. And if it's salty and it's high fat content, what more do you want? It's awesome.
It's survival food, man. That's how you will survive the pandemic.
Yep, amen, dude. I bet you a bunch of white people have spam now, thanks to coronavirus.
Oh, yeah.
I almost forgot the name of the thing that's been ravaging us for 2 years.
Oh yeah, because there's been so many. We've been calling it by all of its variant names. I think we all forget. We're forgetting our roots. Where we all came from when we were scared in March 2020.
Oh, the variant names. Oh yes. Sorry, I thought you were talking about like off air when we refer to it as other things like the Wu flu or like the Jinping sting and all that stuff.
What's there was one really good one because the Kung flu, which was famously made by the Trump's administration, which come on, okay, I understand the implications and why that's bad, but objectively, if we're talking purely wordplay, that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
The Xi Jinping sting, was that it?
Yeah.
There was
my favorite one is I heard it from one of my favorite YouTubers. Shout out Vox's Productions, Professor Tosspot. I hope you hear this one day. He called it the Cantonese coffin sneeze.
Oh my fuck!
Which is my favorite one.
It's like, okay, now let me be clear. We recognize the racial implications and we understand, and we're saying that's bad. Now that we got that out of the way, okay, we can all agree it's kind of funny.
It's pretty damn funny, and I refuse to apologize because it did come from China, so it's like whatever, man.
Yeah, and Nick's Asian, so
close enough. You're
close enough. Yeah, we can round up.
We'll round up. Yeah, it's cool.
Oh man, can't wait for the day we start just getting our whole inbox is just angry emails and the occasional nice one.
Yeah,
but for now it's been all nice, so that's been really cool. We'll enjoy it while we can.
Yeah, we love you guys. No homo.
No homo.
Wait, can you still say that in 2022?
I think you just gotta just full send it and just lick their balls now.
All right, that's fine, and I'll even take my socks off. I don't give a shit.
Good job, man. So look at us. Look how far we've come.
Yeah, look how far I'm gonna come. All right.
Yum.
So the figure had walked away from them to a distance of about 120 feet before Patterson began to run after it. Dumb move. The resulting film, which of course is the Patterson-Gimlin film, which is about 59.5 seconds long at 16 frames per second, is initially quite shaky until Patterson got about 80 feet from the figure. At that point, the figure glanced over its right shoulder at the men, and Patterson fell to his knees. On Kranz's map, the anthropologist who was studying this film, on his map, this corresponds to frame 264. So for some reason, okay, now I'm going to take a break in this quote from the source. For some reason, Patterson dropped to his knees when the fucking animal looked at him.
He gave himself to it completely.
He presented himself to it. I don't know why, couldn't tell you.
Interesting.
Oh, you know what? Maybe he dropped to his knees to film more stably. I hope.
Yeah, not to just, and it's a female one anyways. I mean, I guess you could still like kind of, get some work done down there, but traditionally though.
Could you imagine what a fucking Bigfoot pussy would smell like?
I don't want to think about it.
All right. Ugh. All right. So to researcher John Green, Patterson would later characterize the creature's expression as one of, quote, contempt and disgust. You know how it is when the umpire tells you one more word and you're out of the game. That's the way it felt, unquote.
I'm looking at it now, and like I never thought of it as contempt, but like, yeah, it looks pissed as fuck. It just looks, but not in like a violent way, just like a fuck you, like leave me alone kind of way.
It's like, God damn it, I was just down here to get some fish by the creek, you bastards.
Fuckers. Oh, that's really funny. Is it me, or does Bigfoot look like he's got like a big ol' schnauzer?
You know what? I don't know. I see, because generally I don't think of Bigfoot as having a big one, because like most of the time is relayed as being like a ape face, like, so kind of a snub nose, kind of like a pug nose, right? But you never know. I mean, there could be big feet out there who have fucking big ass noses.
Yeah, because I'm looking at the thing. It just looks like he's got one of those like big, like bulbous, like orb noses and stuff. At least that's how I see it. Kind of like those old like toys, where they were like the Viking dudes, or like like a dwarf kind of something. Looks like a dwarf nose.
Oh, bulbous. Yeah, like fat, like a fat nose.
Yeah, like Gimli or something like that.
I don't who.
Yeah, you watched Lord of the Rings once.
Yeah, never again.
Yeah, and my axe, Gimli, the short one.
Oh, the midget. Yeah, I remember him.
Yes, but long and short of it, yeah, it looks like it's almost like if like a dwarf like grew into like a crazy like monkey monster.
I like it. I'm in. Sounds kinky.
Yeah, good stuff.
So okay, back to the source quote here. Shortly after this point, the steady middle portion of the film begins, containing the famous look-back frame, 352. Patterson said, quote, it turned a total of, I think, 3 times, unquote. The other times, therefore, being before the filming began and or while he was running with his finger off the trigger. Shortly after glancing over its shoulder on film, the creature disappeared behind a grove of trees for 14 seconds. Then reappeared in the film's final 15 seconds after Patterson moved 10 feet to a better vantage point, fading into the trees again and being lost to view at a distance of 265 feet as the reel of film ran out. And that is a very interesting part of the video. Anybody who hasn't seen this video, please watch it on YouTube. You can see that exact thing this quote is talking about as it's going into the tree line, and then you see it emerge from the tree line. It's very interesting.
I gotta say, I've got to point out shout out for that good gun manner of making sure not to run with your finger on the trigger.
Oh, I think he was talking about because back in the day with those little portable film cameras. Yeah.
Oh, like a Super 8 or something like that.
Yeah.
Never mind.
But hey, if there's a Bigfoot around, always run with your finger on the trigger. Get ready. You never know, dude.
God, I mean, it could
Like being in
any
South
moment.
Central, dude. Like LBC.
Yeah.
Like you never know, man.
Dude, because I used to live in Long Beach. I don't know if I've said that on the. I'm sure I've said because I went to school in Long Beach, but dude, that place has been like bad. Like it was doing really good when I lived there, but now, dude, it's homicides left and right. Gang violence is up. Like they're falling back, man, back to their old ways.
G unit.
Wow.
All right.
I think that was I remember hearing that from a Chappelle show. You remember what they do like the house swap?
Yeah, and the white kid. The white kid's like G unit. And he's like,
all right, get in the fucking car.
Get your ass in the car.
Drives him and just like drops him off in the hood. Oh man.
Gimlin remounted and followed it on horseback, keeping his distance until it disappeared around a bend in the road 300 yards away. Patterson called him back at that point, feeling vulnerable on foot without a rifle, because he feared the creature's mate might approach. Ooh. The entire encounter had lasted less than 2 minutes, so I guess he was afraid because I guess at this point he realized that it was a female. Because he probably saw those like two hams, you know, and then
those big old swanging milkers,
them milkers. He saw him and he was like, "Dude, what if the husband rolls around and is like, I don't know, a foot or two taller, bigger, pissed,
yeah,
you know?"
And she's already pretty big as is. It's like that's a fair now, not to get Bigfoot sexist here, but like that's a fair assumption that that the male Bigfoot's probably going to be a lot more probably violent.
Yeah, aggressive. I'm sure. I feel like that's just a primate hominid trait, is that males are just more aggressive, you know?
Yeah, they'll beat the shit out. They'll kill you, actually. And for anybody being like, that's a little unfair. It's like, dude, we're not talking about humans here. We're talking about wild animals. Like you wouldn't go into if you had to choose to fight a female orangutan or a gorilla versus a male one. I mean, you'll probably still die, but hey, at least you have a fighting chance against the other one.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So yeah. Try to be woke about this shit.
Yeah, you try. And yeah, you know what? We are talking about people. And you know what? None of you guys should be mad anyway, because like the only people that would get mad about it are females. And I'm saying that men are more aggressive. So it's like, you know.
Well, correction, females and those like the cucky types that are like, never mind.
Well, I'm generalizing. Statistics show that men are more aggressive. There's always going to be the females who rightfully should be aggressive in the workplace. They need to assert their dominance. And then you're going to have fucking little piss boys, especially nowadays, who fucking, put on maid dresses and go on TikTok. It's just, that's the way it is.
Well, with intelligence and with social, evolution, there comes changes to the we're not hunter gatherers anymore. Like all those, like we've gotten to a point as a society, because we have a society where we can sort of challenge those norms that came from the wild, because people always seem to forget we are technically still animals. We are wild animals. We're just smart as fuck and figured out how to, be something more than that. So that being said, we don't have to, follow the traditional rules anymore, but easier said than done. That's why that's still a struggle nowadays. And that's why there's still some, men and women that just won't ever see eye to eye on a lot of things, because it's just, that's kind of, there's, I don't want to say it's an instinctual thing, but it's something it's very easy to fall back on, because that's kind of where we came from.
And it's just been perpetuated by society. So that's just the way it is. And you know what? This is going to be the most woke thing I've ever said. And I hate using that term, but it's true. All right. This is going to be the most woke thing I've ever said. You can fight against your hormones, man. Don't let your hormones determine who you are, buddy.
Yeah.
All right. If I want to put on a maid dress and dance around on TikTok, I'll do it. All right.
Yeah, and you can,
and I can. Yeah, I mean, sure, my testosterone's making me fucking grow hair out the wazoo on my arms and stuff. I might not look good in a maid outfit, but I can still do it.
Exactly.
break through the social norms. You know what? Fuck it, man. Let's just start. When I have a baby, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to purposefully, no, I'm just kidding. I was gonna say, I'm gonna purposefully raise it the opposite gender.
Oh my God.
I wouldn't do that. No, it's torture.
It's like the what is it? The article where the lady names her son Vagina.
Oh, that poor bastard. Is that real?
I hope not. Let's fact check it. All right, new segment. Fact checking the news. Lady. Oh, let's try Snopes. Names son Vagina. Babies ever named hotel. Image trackers. Comedic publication reductress. So these are fake. So that did not happen.
See, is it sad that I believed it though? Like I could see that happening.
Yeah, honestly, dude, like that kind of felt the same way. And that's the beauty of satire. Sometimes when it gets a little too real, I think it shows a lot about our current position.
Yeah, but we're just trolling. Do what you want to do. Dress how you want to. I don't give a fuck, man. Just look hot doing it. You know what I mean?
Yep, it's your business, and that's kind of our takeaways. Do whatever the fuck you want to do.
I missed that. Yes.
Yeah, Hodge Twins. I think they're still making videos on YouTube. Shout out to them.
So back to the quote here. The entire encounter had lasted less than 2 minutes, and half of that we got on film. Next, Gimlin and Patterson rounded up Patterson's horses, which had run off in the opposite direction because they have good instincts, downstream before the filming began. Patterson got his second roll of film from his saddlebag and filmed the tracks. Then the men tracked Patty for either 1 mile or 3 miles, but, quote, lost it in the heavy undergrowth, unquote. They went to their campsite 3 miles south, picked up plaster, returned to the initial site, measured the creature's step length, and made 2 plaster casts, one each of the best quality right and left prints. Okay, that was the entire encounter. Half of it we got on film. That is the famous Patterson-Gimlin film. Interesting. I think that it's really fucking cool, man. And I think that it's a historical moment in cryptozoology.
Yeah, and the whole encounter, it really was only just 20 minutes, if that?
2 minutes.
2 minutes. So that shit happened fast. The blood must have been pumping on that.
And we could have gotten a longer video, but it said that it took Patterson a long time. He was fiddle fucking around trying to get his camera out of his saddlebag. So thanks to his butterfingers, we got only 59.5 seconds. We could have had like a minute and a half.
Yeah, but in the moment, dude, that's that guy didn't know. That guy didn't wake up that morning thinking he was going to make history.
True. Very true. So to reiterate, guys, okay, that's the end of the quote, by the way. So that's all straight from the source. Now, this film is famous. And if you guys have no idea what I'm talking about, just look it up. Patterson-Gimlin film, look it up on YouTube, and you'll instantly recognize it. And you'll recognize the background, the foreground. You'll recognize it at least from pictures.
Right.
So this is the type of situation in which even people who know absolutely nothing about cryptids can recognize this film and the famous 350-second frame of the film where Bigfoot kind of looks back, swinging its arms, famous.
I think we have that as an emote on our Discord.
I think we do. Yes.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one. But this is the most iconic. You don't even have to really be into. Oh, that was a nice one. But we don't really even have to know a whole lot about the paranormal, the supernatural, anything to have some of it to recognize that iconic image, with the walk and like the pose where she's kind of hunched over a little bit. The arms are like one's in front, one's in back, nice. It's a very nice silhouette, as an artist might say.
Yeah. Very cool picture. Now, the major question that everybody has in their minds when we talk about this encounter is it a hoax? As you could imagine, given its age, its popularity, its scrutiny, it's like being under scrutiny for so long. That's a loaded question with no straight answer.
Well, and it's funny because before we recorded and a little bit while we were recording, I was Googling, was it proven fake? And there was one article that says definitely proven fake. And then you click on it and it's just a fucking like, yeah, gotta watch our documentary that comes. It's just fucking trying to sell me something.
It's exactly. So it's convoluted. This whole thing does not have a straight answer. Again, that's why it's a loaded question.
Right.
So let's get into just a couple of the little finer details. Again, this is the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the Patterson-Gimlin saga. If anybody's interested, please feel free. There are hundreds of books written on this shit. So this is just some stuff I thought I should bring up. Okay. Both Patterson and Gimlin have stated that this is not a hoax. However, Gimlin once said in 1999 in an interview that he was a younger man back then and that he didn't think that he could be tricked by anyone. You know, he felt invincible, as we all do at this age.
True and fair.
He said that there is always a possibility of a hoax, but Patterson would have been a mastermind to pull it off. Which I kind of agree with, because I know on the surface you're like, oh, he could just, he could do that. But then you have to think about it, right? They're in the middle of a fucking national forest.
Right.
He has to hire a dude to dress like a monkey and be at this place at this time in the middle of a national forest, which you can't text at even nowadays. But this was in 1967. So what do you send him a fucking telegraph to tell him like, hey, you there?
Yeah, and also too, like, even if it was like that's a pretty elaborate outfit. That would take some like major expertise to pull off anyways. And even if you had the expertise to pull that off, that seems like it would cost a lot. And I don't know what were these guys' like jobs? Because I mean, that's a lot of free time if you ask me.
I don't know. I don't know much about their personal lives, to be honest with you. But it's interesting that you brought up the costume. Okay, because that's going to be one of our next points here as far as, it being a hoax or not. So then we have a man named Philip Morris. He comes into the story. Okay, he's a man who creates studio props and costumes, and he's been doing it for a very long time. Apparently he's good at his work. And in 2002, he came out saying that he created something akin to a gorilla suit for Patterson, who described its purposes as being for something like a prank.
That's a lot of money for a prank.
Yes. Especially for what his work seems to be like professional for like film and TV. So very expensive. And now Morris's wife and also business partner had come out backing up his claims, as a wife would do for a husband and vice versa. However, of course, Morris did not give us any evidence of this claim, so I personally would take this with a grain of salt.
Damn it. Fucking Morris. We almost had it, because in 2002, obviously that's a couple years, like, the craze is up there. So as much as I want to say, like, there we go, we solved it, it's like, well, he very easily could have just been caught up in the hype and just wanted to be part of the story.
That's what happens, man. That's what happens with these types of things. And something interesting that happened, I didn't put it in the outline because I have it up in my brain, is so a lot of people who, I should say Bigfoot researchers, right? I'm putting this nicely. All right. Bigfoot researchers, when they watch this video, they say, look, humans can't walk like that. And they point out these different things because they're like amateur fucking kinesiology majors.
Yes.
I don't know. So they're like, humans can't walk this way. But then Philip Morris, our costume boy here, came out and said, yes, they can. They can walk this way, and I'll prove it to you guys. I will recreate the gorilla costume. Have somebody walk around in it, and we'll film it. And we will put it out there to prove that I created this costume. And they did it. They never released it because it turned out so shitty. And he said, "Oh no, I can make a better costume. It doesn't look like the one in there." But he definitely backpedaled and never did it again.
Interesting. So he couldn't hack it.
Couldn't hack it, man. So he couldn't even recreate his own work, and he couldn't get somebody to recreate the walk as well.
Interesting. So a little bit harder than they expected, huh?
Exactly. Now we have one more person to talk about. One major player, I would say. A man named Bob Hieronymous. It's a fucking sick last name, dude.
That is pretty cool.
Now, Hieronymus claimed that he was actually the person inside of the gorilla suit for the film. Now, family of Bob had come out to corroborate his story, but it's all anecdotal and could be completely fabricated. Okay, so again, don't take this attempt as basically an attempt to a claim of fame too seriously, because he wrote a book or some kind of a book about it, and he's like, yeah, but in my family saw my gorilla suit in my car. I was like, yeah, but I could say anything. I could be like, yeah, but fucking I was walking down the road and all of a sudden I got jumped by 3 ninjas, and nobody was there to see it, bro, but it happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's tough because, and it's funny because normally this is used as like a counterpoint for like when we talk about like aliens or like abductions, where usually my go-to is like, well, these guys just want to get a quick buck and get famous, because all you got to do is scream and shout, throw up like a couple of buckets of slime all over the place, and say your butthole got diddled, and then now you're like, you're in headlines. But with this, it's kind of the complete opposite of, it's like, well, the fact that there are just, this could easily just be a grab for attention, means like a lot of these people that say that, oh yes, this is real, like could just be just randos who don't even know the guys.
Right. And the only reason I'm doing this is because it fits my narrative. Thank you. Fucking, I almost said narration. I was like, what?
Well, yeah.
What?
And also too, it's to the benefit of Patterson-Gimlin to not like reach out to these people, because you don't want cross-examining happen, because whether it's real or not, they'd rather keep it a mystery. And so it's to their benefit to not, reach out to these people to like confirm or non-confirm.
Right. So in the end, I think these people just wanted to jump on the bandwagon, get their 15 minutes of fame. Even if they knew going in that they would be discredited, they still made some pretty big claims, and we're talking about them right now. So it kind of worked.
Yeah, it's interesting. And even then, even if the money's not a factor, I mean, the guy wrote a fucking book, so obviously money was a factor in it. But sometimes just people do crazy shit for fame. You try to tell me you weren't in high school and had some like crackpot scheme to try to like get famous, or that wasn't like a goal at one point. Like everybody wants that.
Yeah, I wanted to be in a band, man.
Yeah, be a rock star, or you want to do like, I don't know, be a fucking influencer. I don't know. Everybody wants that. Like, because who doesn't? Because it's the ultimate fitting in. Like, we as people, we're social creatures. We want to fit in. Fame and the idea of fame is like, it's the same thing of like, we want infinite money because money is a status symbol, and to have like millions and billions of dollars, I would say less of it makes it so we're at the top, we're better than everybody else. But I think it more comes from I'm a number one, therefore I deserve love and attention. And when you're growing, you don't really know that that's exactly what you need. And that's not for lack of intelligence. That's because that's what happens when you're growing into this intelligent body that you have, and you're trying to make sense of all these hormones as, you try to understand what the fuck we are. But I think, yeah, the need for fame, the need for attention, I think is more of it's like a more socially acceptable way of saying like, what do I need to do to prove my worth to other people? And if I'm up here, literally nobody can say I'm not important because I'm famous. So I think there's a lot of that. And that's why I think there's a lot of famous people who are big old brats about it, because they've never gotten that time to self-actualize and understand what it is they actually want out of life. They just got the extreme right in the beginning of their life, and now that's their new normal. Yeah, man.
Just a whole bunch of insecurities going around, dude. That's what leads people to want to be larger than life.
Yeah. So no, I don't think Bigfoot's real.
What does that have to do with anything that we just talked about? You just disproved the disprovers.
But that doesn't confirm it's real.
But it is real. So that's what I was getting to at the end of this. We're basically done talking about Patterson-Gimlin.
Yeah.
Gimlin, it's real. That was a real, if that is a real thick female Bigfoot, if you've never seen one.
I think the details got lost in the convolution, and I think that's exactly what they wanted, to keep it vague, to keep it, and obviously there's been a huge effort to sort of like prove it fake or real. And I think it's just a constant like dick comparing competition and like a constant, well, that's not real. And you have some really top tier intelligent people on both sides that are just kind of caught in like a crossfire, or not a crossfire, but they're kind of just like, it's an unstoppable force meeting an immovable object. I just think it's just the discourse for it is what's keeping us from really getting a straight answer. And the fact that there's not a straight answer means there's just as much of a chance of it being fake as there is real.
I mean, yeah, if you look at it like that, then sure. But I'm telling you, the straight answer is that it was real.
Okay.
You guys watch that video and tell me. Look at the way that the thigh moves when it walks. You can see the muscle contractions. You can see the jiggling. It's erotic. It's sensual.
Let me see. Best of big footage. Bigfoot claims. Evidence claims a new video. I don't know, man. That thing walks pretty human-like.
All right. Next time we're together, I'll make you walk like that, and then I'll film it, and we'll see how it stacks up.
Yeah, it's a lumber. See, I'm already kind of doing it on camera right now. You guys can't see it, but you can just pretend I'm doing it.
You look like you're just jerking off two guys sitting next to you
with fucking like 12-inch wieners. Like, no, that's how it's just a walk, man.
Nah, and that's the spoiler alert. It's real. That's just the way it is. Patterson-Gimlin are Messiah level people. All right.
Like, I will acknowledge the chances of them, like, just like fucking around. Like, okay, hold on. Let me see. What's his first name? It's Patterson. What's Patterson's first name?
Roger.
Okay. I'm just interested what's more about them, because Gimlin mostly avoided publicly discussing the subject until 2005, until he started giving interviews, which is interesting.
It's a long time to go without talking about it.
Yeah, because
if you were in it for the money, you would have fucking been like, guys, look what I found the next day, and just started like, showing up to cryptid conventions in the 70s like you're like Jesus,
Right. That's a good point, because I don't know, primate experts can see the likelihood of Bigfoot as a real creature. I'm convinced that the Sasquatch exists, but he argues against the film being genuine. Will doubt scientific evidence of a hoax. Skepticism. Well, we have more stories, right? So maybe let me hear some more stories. Maybe that might help me formulate a little bit.
We have one more big story.
Okay, let's hear the big story.
Okay. But look, the last thing I'll say about Patterson and Gimlin, they were born in the 30s. Do you think people from the 30s would lie?
Yes. Actually, I think a lot of people lied back then.
Okay. Racist, but okay.
No, never mind.
Okay, now let's get into another encounter. This one is not as well known, but it is still significant. Okay? In the cryptozoological realm, people will know, at least have heard the name of this one. So we're going to talk about the Ruby Creek incident. Ruby Creek is what I call it when a lady is on their period.
Wow. I was going to say, isn't Ruby Creek like a restaurant?
Ruby Tuesday. I love Ruby Tuesdays, man.
Is it what kind of food do they have?
It's like think of a bigger Johnny Rockets. Same aesthetic, 50s diner, same food. But just bigger.
That sounds actually that made my, like, I wasn't hungry and now I am hungry. And especially because, dude, Johnny Rockets was just, it was good, but they hiked those prices up too much, man.
You're starting to sound like a Frankie again, dude.
Whatever, man. It was $20 for a burger, fries, and a Coke. That's way too much.
Dude, it makes sense. It makes sense, dude. Like, look, if they started serving that shit in the 50s, inflation, right? You used to pay like, I don't know, a couple bucks for the combo. Like 70 years later. Yeah. So like, yeah, $20 for a combo. Yeah.
Yeah. I've been to a nice restaurant and paid $14 for a burger and got a beer with it and still paid less than I would have at Johnny Rockets. Like, no, there's a reason they went under. I think they're still there as a company, but the one near me for sure went under, along with many others.
Look, man, I know you shekels. I get it. I get it, man. But just buy a burger every once in a while, experience life, and don't scrutinize everything,
It's too expensive. I've had better burgers for way cheaper. It's like, it's good. It's a good burger, but it's not $16 good.
You're also paying for the experience, right? You're paying for you're going to a place that is replicated to be a 50s diner with working jukeboxes. Okay, we'll move on. I'm just saying. That's all I'm saying. All right.
I'm mad because it comes from a place of love. I love Johnny Rockets, and then to feel like I'm getting ripped off by one of my favorite burger places, it just makes me sad. But anyways, Ruby Tuesday, I'll try it and I'll let you know. We've got to talk about Bigfoot at Ruby Creek.
Ruby Creek. September 1941. This story surrounds a family named the Chapmans, and this family is a Native family, Native American. Not a traditional Native American last name, but I'll take it. Now, the Chapmans, I wrote it wrong there. The Chapmans were comprised...
the Champmans is what you put it down.
Yeah, dude, because they're Native Americans, they're champions, dude.
Look at you, man. So kind.
Yeah, it's making up for it all.
Watch it. I'm just gonna cut you off now, so I don't have to physically cut the parts of the show anymore.
I was gonna say something nice. All right.
Yeah. I'm sure.
So the Chapmans were comprised of George and Jeannie and their 4 children who lived in Ruby Creek, which is in British Columbia, Canada.
Okay.
But like one of the most northern parts of it. So it was kind of in the fucking boonies. 3 in the afternoon, the eldest of the children came running to the family home from the mountains, saying that a cow was following him and coming out of the mountains down towards the house. A cow. Okay. Huh. Now, Jeannie went outside to take a look because her son looked pretty freaked out. And she saw what she first described as a bear moving around in the bushes across from the railroad track by their pad. Okay. So we're getting 2 wrong animals from 2 of these people, right? These backwoods British Columbia people. First thinks it's a cow. Probably never seen a cow in his life. If he thinks a Bigfoot looks like a cow, he's got to work. You know that one thing that kids use with like the electronic thing we used to have where you spin it and then like it would randomly land on an animal and say what noise it makes?
Right.
He needs to work on that shit. You know what I mean?
Well, there's brown cows. Like they're not all black and white spotted.
Yeah, I know where chocolate milk comes from, right? I know.
I think the kid was right. He sees giant furry thing barreling across the railroad track. He books it right home. That's some good instinct right there, kid.
I will give him that. He didn't go and try and pet it, so that's good.
Yeah, good shit.
The other children, remember there are other children in this family, were still playing around outside, and Jeannie called all of them inside at once. Naturally, she saw like what she thought was a bear. She's like, fuck, you know?
Yeah.
So soon after, the creature that she thought was a bear stood up and began moving over the railroad tracks. And as it did so, she knew it was no bear. Let me tell you what, buddy. All right. That was not a bear.
Uh-huh.
She then described it as being a huge man covered in hair. The hair was roughly 4 inches in length all over its body and was yellow-brown in color.
Idea. Maybe what if it wasn't in fact Bigfoot, but was just a really weird hairy man who just lived on his own in the woods?
I wouldn't put anything past Canada.
I think that could explain a lot of maybe it's just a fucking like off the grid weirdo who's just like pissed that somebody found him.
Well, here I would say maybe, but here's the problem is it was covered in hair.
Yeah.
Like the only things that weren't from according to the story was the palms of its hands and its face.
Oh yeah, you ever heard of werewolfism? I think that's what it's called.
Oh, I know of it, but they don't look like a couple of Greek guys. You know what I mean?
I don't know, man. That's I'm looking at some pictures of it right now, and that looks.
Then she would have been like it's a werewolf. You know what I mean?
Well, but he was tall as fuck. You know, it looked weird and different. Like, and it was a big lumbering dude. It could just be, and it would make sense that somebody with werewolfism or werewolf syndrome would get like ostracized and just said, you know what, fuck this. Maybe he was already like a wilderness type guy and just said like, fuck it. Let's just live in the woods.
I think you're stretching here, man. So you're telling me,
it is.
First of all, I think it's very rude that you think people with werewolf syndrome look like either a cow or a bear. That's very rude because that's what they thought it looked like.
Their words, not mine.
Yeah, but you're backing it up, man. So all the people out there who have werewolf syndrome, I'm sorry on Tasker's behalf that he's discriminating against you guys.
Why is it my fault that they thought it was? I'm not saying that they look like bear or cows. They thought they did, but they saw a giant thing running really fast.
And look, the last time I checked, that's a good point, running fast, but last I checked, hair kind of doesn't help with aerodynamics. I don't know how fast you could run if you have werewolf syndrome, all right?
Well, if you live in the woods, I imagine you're pretty dang good at running.
Maybe, but it's not a person. It's not a person, man. It's fucking Bigfoot. This episode is Bigfoot. All right?
I guess. And I guess you just
This is not a carnival sideshow. There's nobody with werewolf syndrome here. It's fucking Bigfoot.
Well, and funny enough, by saying the word Bigfoot over and over again, I did forget that. See, okay, and here's actually another thing, because I know you've said the footprints are like ginormous, right? That would be too big for a human. So
right,
that should disprove it, correct?
Yes, well, and we'll get in there.
Yeah, well, maybe the thing they saw was real, but maybe it's the footprints that they fabricated that they saw, and they kind of, did a little etch-a-sketch, make it a little bit bigger.
There's nobody home to do it. We'll get into that. We will get into what happened.
I'm talking more about the first one, the one before this, the Peterson, whatever the fuck video.
Oh, well, that's up for debate, but I still think it's real. I still think that's 100% a female Bigfoot.
All right. Well, what else we got with this little family?
So the beast was heading straight for the house, and she was still trying to round up the children. It was basically sheer panic on all ends, right? Because the eldest son, the one that came down talking about a cow, was 9 years old, and then the other kids were like around 5 or so, like 5 and a little younger. So they were like young and dumb, don't understand like complex thoughts, don't know what's going on, and so she's still trying to round them up from outside. She tells the eldest son to get a blanket from upstairs because she's going to use it as a shield. Not like a physical shield, but like a visual shield,
right?
Because she didn't want her children to see this thing. I guess it was that frightening. So,
and panic's a hell of a drug, like we always say. So, and you don't want that trauma of a giant, monstrous creature like lumbering around your homestead,
right? And because it was going to do that, she was smart and she didn't barricade herself in the house. That never works. All right. Have you guys seen dog soldiers? Never barricade yourself in the house when you you're being attacked by mysterious creatures. Okay.
Dog soldiers?
Oh, you never seen Dog Soldiers, bro?
No.
One of the best werewolf movies of all time.
Oh, interesting. So yeah, so barricading doesn't work because they'll just break through, right?
They'll break through, man. This thing's fucking big, dude. So she was smart. She's like, fuck this. There's a village down the hill. So what they did was she had the blanket. She was out in the field next to the house. Kids were behind the blanket. They were backing up, like walking backwards, or she was walking backwards. The kids were walking towards the hill. And then as soon as they got to the base of the hill, when they felt it was safe, or when she felt it was safe, she told them to fucking book it. And they all ran down the hill to the village that was like down there, right? The nearest village.
Got it.
That was the end of their story here. Now, where it picks up, though, was, although before I get into that, I will say this is what Jeannie observed when she did initially when she actually got a chance to see the creature. She estimated 7.5 feet tall, and she was able to estimate this because it walked next to a fence on their property that she knew the height of. So she was able to kind of estimate. I would say her estimation's much more reliable than the Patterson-Gimlin one.
Oh yeah, she had a point of reference. She sounds a lot more, much more of like a thinker.
Yeah. It also, she said that it had a small head and almost a non-existent neck. Not because it was short, like it wasn't like this, but because its fucking traps were so big. And it was super muscular and it was large, but otherwise the shape resembled that of a human. And its shoulders were super, super broad, bowling ball shoulders, as we've talked about in the last episode.
Nice.
And and the creature did not have any boobies, so even though the fur was covering, or the hair was covering up its crotch, she assumed it was a male.
And like we assumed, it did seem a lot more aggressive. Like it saw them, and it was like, "Hey, Did it see them and then like started getting closer and stuff?
Yeah.
Or was just barreling around?
It's had to have seen them and started walking towards the house. Yeah.
I see. Okay. Whereas the female one was just kind of like, you fuckers, and just walked away.
Yeah. Wait till my husband gets here.
Why I oughta.
George, the husband, got home from work at 6 that evening, so only roughly 3 hours after the initial encounter. His family was still at the village, so he had no idea what was going on when he showed up at home, right? He didn't know. Remember, this was like the 1940s. They couldn't just like text and be like, hey, Bigfoot on property, don't go home, you know?
Was it, except like, what is it? The silver alert, amber alert? What would you call it? Like a
brown alert?
Yeah, brown alert. That's...
that's never mind. That's racist.
How about a
reddish brown alert?
Yeah, just a reddish brown, or just a reddish alert with the ish in particular.
So when he arrived at the house, he saw that the shed's door, because they had this big wooden shed where they kept all their food, right?
Right.
He saw the shed's doors were completely bashed in, and he found giant humanoid footprints all around the property. He then spotted the footprints of what he assumed to be his wife and kids, so he tracked them down the hill toward the village. Now, luckily, he didn't see any of the massive footprints following theirs, so he assumed that they were fine and they weren't followed. And knowing this, he went back to the house and further investigated what had happened after he realized his family was okay. One of the main things that he saw was in the shed that was demolished, he found a 55-gallon drum of fish completely busted up and broken open. And they said that something like that really should be only be opened with a tool, unless you're like super strong. You know what I mean?
Like a crowbar or something.
Right, exactly. So it was just crushed like a grape kind of, and it was holding a bunch of fish, and most of that fish was gone. So he was a hungry boy.
Okay, all right. So that's a good point to bring up. No human can do that. Like that for a human. It's not completely impossible. There's really strong people out there, but that's like record-breaking strength. Like if you were that strong as a person, and when did this take place?
1941.
Oh yeah. If there was a person like that, they'd be renowned as like the strong man of the planet. He'd be really famous, and it would be and plus, why would somebody that strong be wasting it on breaking into people's fucking sheds
and eating gallons of fish?
Yeah, that's just a waste of time and just illogical. And even for people who maybe might not be completely mentally sound, like that takes so much training it's like the whole thing of like the argument of like, well, I don't want to go to the gym because I don't want to be all like beefy and buff. It's like, dude, you fucking wish. Like, do you know how much work and like you have to try to get that? And even then, it's not guaranteed. So that's just a big fallacy. So you just don't have to go to the gym. Same point here. Nobody is going to train to be that strong just to go live in the woods and just run around and break into people's shit. That's just like, and if you were crazy, what if they were crazy? Well, then you probably wouldn't have the know-how to work out that much to get that strong because you're crazy.
Yeah, and it wasn't accessible. It's not like people were doing major bodybuilding back then. Like, if you guys ever feel like it, look up bodybuilders from the 40s and 50s. All right, they look like me a couple years ago. All right, it's sad.
Oh yeah, well, even bodybuilder society, even just classic strongmen who don't even care about what their muscles look like, they just want to be strong. Even then, I highly doubt this falls into that category. So
yeah,
this will be one of those rare times where I will say there's no way this was human.
Yeah, thank you. See, and I know what your next step in logic is going to be. It was a bear. It had humanoid footprints. Okay, last I checked, bears. Furries will argue this with me, but last I checked, bears are not anthropomorphic.
So just 3 furry bodybuilders in one big suit, and they just that's some top tier degenerate shit.
Okay, so after this, and he made sure the property was clear and that this whatever it was not around anymore. He went down. He followed his family's footprints because remember, Native American, they're good at tracking footprints. walk down. Oh, it's true. All right. It's not. I'm not being racist. I'm not. I'm just saying it's a fact. All right. It's a fact. And I applaud them for it.
I think it depends on how traditional some native folks you're thinking of, but I'm sure there are some that are.
This was 1941 in the boonies of British Columbia woods, and they had a 55-gallon drum of fish, and the first thing he looked for was footprints. I'm thinking they're pretty traditional.
All right.
Feathers in the hair and like fucking.
We're cutting you off physically, so we don't have to do it in the program.
I'm just kidding. They're cool, man. They're cool. I actually watched a documentary today about American bison and how they're trying to trying to get them to repopulate. After everything got fucked.
Yeah, I thought so. They're not extinct. I thought they were like on their way out.
They were. But now there's thousands of them in the plains, and but they're trying to get them back up to the millions. But I'm like, yikes! Good luck,
Wait, the American bison?
Yeah,
dude, they're in the not threatened category.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so we did it.
We did it, and with the help of the Native Americans who live in the Great Plains, I learned.
Yay! Well, good shit. All right. Well, that's nice to have some uplifting news for once.
Yeah, isn't that nice?
Isn't buffalo meat supposed to be pretty good?
It's fucking real good. So stop eating it, people. Like we're trying to,
Well, they're back though. We have their problem is let's see, what is it? Their conservation status is they're near threatened. I see. So yeah, you're right. Don't stop eating them. Let them come back a little bit. They're near.
Let them come back. Yeah, like let's let them get to a healthy amount, and then let's start eating our ground bison again.
Yeah, so they're not totally threatened yet, but they're teetering. But I think that's like, I want to say that's a big like boost because I think they were threatened for a while. So yeah, let's boost them up so we can start eating them again.
Woohoo! And not feel bad about it.
Hell yeah, no guilt included.
I was at Costco today. I was wondering why fucking like 2 pounds of ground bison was $20.
Yeah, you're not supposed to be eating them. That's why. Also, too, on that note, why the fuck are king crab like $50 a pound?
Because it's the sweetest, most juiciest crab that you'll ever have in your life.
Is it really?
And it's a lot of meat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know? And it's what they go into to get it too. Like, those, what's that one show called? That one that was on the History Channel or something?
Was it the most dangerous something or
something like that? That's the shit that they have to go through to get king crabs. It's very, very treacherous.
Oh, when you're on like the here it is. There's the like Alaskan king crab fishing where you're on the crazy boat and you're just getting pummeled by waves in the middle of the night just to pull in okay, all right, yeah. Respect where it's due. Yeah, that's a crazy dangerous job.
I feel like part of that expensive price is to account for their hazard pay. Yeah.
Deadliest Catch. That's what it's called.
That was it. Yeah, dude, that show was crazy, bro. Dude, At one point in my life, I was so down when I was working at that restaurant that me and the other cook, they were like, dude, we could just pack up right now and just go fucking fish crab on one of those dangerous boats.
I remember you considered it because you're like, yeah, you make a killing because you're putting your life on the line.
Dude, I was like, fuck, my back hurts already. It's just from standing. I can't do that.
Yeah. Here, let's see. This for those of you who haven't seen it, it was on the Discovery Channel. It aired in 2005. Freezing temperatures, turbulent seas. The pots that must be dragged up can weigh well over a ton when full. And since the season is short, because of regulations and the weather, the fishermen often spend days at a time in very rough seas, working long hours with little sleep.
Yeah, dude.
So that's why it's like $50 a pound. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And the amount of meat you get is just crazy for a shellfish too. So
shit, man, I'm hungry.
Me too. I'm fucking hungry. Let's get through this.
Yep, we got to move on.
Now, like I said, George went back down to the town, found his family. They all talked about what happened. They have ended up coming back up the hill back to their house, and they brought along some extended family as well as extra protection because they were kind of nervous, as you could imagine.
Right. Fair.
Now, for every night for weeks, they would come out in the morning and footprints would be around their property overnight.
Ooh, looking for more fish.
Looking for more fish, man. That boy was like, yo, these guys know how to catch them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Got the quality stuff.
The wild caught, man, you know?
Delicious.
In particular, the dogs would go crazy at 2 a.m. almost every night. So that probably was when Bigfoot would come around the area looking for food.
Yeah, makes sense.
However, it should be noted that the shed was never touched again and the dogs were never harmed. Okay, Bigfoot, like we talked about in the last episode, Bigfoot's not like an initially aggressive creature. It seems to be in this situation, he was like, yo, I found food here once before. I could probably find it again if I keep checking, you know?
Yeah, creature of convenience, a creature that probably, if he has a little family, requires a ton of food. And if you find an easy source for it, like, yeah, you might as well. And yeah, they're hungry boys.
They're big hungry boys, man. I feel that. I know that feel. All right.
Yeah. And maybe that's why it was like barreling beforehand, why it was so like, fast and violent, is maybe it just fucked up its hunt today. It was just hungry.
Yeah. And despite the constant footprints and the constant activity at night, and despite the fact that nothing happened after that, they were still freaked out. I would be really freaked out too. And they ended up moving like 3 weeks after the initial incident.
Yeah, I feel like we don't ever get enough of that when crazy shit happens. And normally people, it's like, oh, well, we got to stick it out. Like, it's nice when they just say, yeah, fuck this. And they just move.
Yeah, that's what I would have done. Like in Poltergeist, right? Yeah. If anything in the beginning of Poltergeist started happening, I would be like, guys, I am not attached to this house. You know what I mean? There's like no fucking reason for me to stay here.
Yeah. Like I imagine like the hardest part would be selling the house and like, that all that jargon. But still, I'd make moves.
I think that's smart.
Yep, I agree.
All right. So now we got to get into the big juicy shit. All right. This is the reason we're all here. What exactly is Bigfoot?
Yeah, what exactly is Bigfoot?
What I think we should do is let's begin by talking about what I will call quote unquote natural explanations, naturalistic, right? So basically these are theories that are based on evolution or biology or the lack of evolution, that kind of shit. Okay. Mm-hmm. So first thing, this is one that we've heard all the time in reference to Bigfoot is he's a missing link.
Mm.
Okay. This is probably the most prominent theory about Bigfoot is that he's just like a missing link of sorts. And basically he's an undiscovered or undocumented primate, hominid, more particular, that is somewhere in the chain between our ancestors and us. I am not a anthropologist. I'm not a biologist. I don't know how that could be.
They if they are some like strain of humanity, they seem weirdly antisocial to be what like a part of the evolutionary chain that became humanity. Mankind is known for its collaboration and known for its, that's why we get stressed. That's why, we have these like, this obsession with, fitting in is because back then, if you didn't fit in, you died because you needed to live in a group. Otherwise, by yourself, it's just, you could, but you had to be really good at it in order to make it out. And most people are not. So I have a hard time believing this is like a step in our evolution because they're, like we said before, they're extremely solitary. They only have themselves and their small family. They're super hungry. They're really big. It just, I don't know if that adds up to me.
Yeah. I'm going to say the same. I don't think it's the strongest argument out there. I think that there's very little evidence to say, hey, this is where they're missed. This is the link that's missing. Like if you could show me that, I'd be like, oh, okay. But like everybody's just like, it's a missing link. I was like, what does that mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot more science that goes into it, but like I said, I think in terms of its general behavior, it seems more like it just doesn't really seem like, it would be on our chain. Okay. If it's like maybe something adjacent to us, maybe a different form that just never quite made it past because maybe if like we can all assume that let's go into the assumption here that, mankind, like there's like this one proto primate and, from this primate, there comes off, different versions of it depending on where it lived. So we'll say that there's the one that turned into humanity. And then there's the one that just, went off and never quite, progressed much farther. And maybe that's the one, maybe that was the Bigfoot one or the Sasquatch one, because it was really, really big, but learned to be really, really solitary because it was really big. So its behavior, which is a result of its biology. And that explains why there's not a whole lot of them left. And maybe we're kind of at the tail end of them, and maybe they're already extinct for all we know.
Yeah, that's kind of my thought too, is I don't think it's a missing link in ours. I think it's just something that is timid, and it is very good at hiding. It's learned to be good at hiding because of its size. And I definitely think that's true. And I think it's protecting what little amount of its species it has for itself by being timid. But that's all speculation, assuming that they are some kind of actual animal, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. So missing link, I'm going to say, probably not.
Same. Okay, Gigantopithecus. Some believe that Bigfoot is just a small population of Gigantopitheci, which is a group of ape hominids that actually lived in Asia around 300,000 years ago during the Chibanian age. And if you guys have ever seen like a skeleton of Gigantopithecus, I guess I could see that.
Yeah. So this is kind of like a Loch Ness Monster kind of take of Loch Ness Monster. Is one of the explanations is that it's actually just basically a dinosaur that just never died out, and it's just somehow they just kept the line going. So it's sort of like a take on that, except like a land Loch Ness Monster basically is kind of what we're thinking with this.
Right. And it's not impossible because the coelacanth, same thing. I mean, yes, it's a fish, totally different situation, but it was thought to be extinct millions of years ago, and all of a sudden what is that? Oh, it's a bunch of coelacanth over there. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know.
Well, they just discovered a intact dinosaur embryo.
I saw that.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
So here it's Jurassic Park, here we come. Yes. And hopefully people fucking read their book. When I saw that too, I'm like, I hope everyone at least watched the movie so we know how to deal with this responsibly. But yeah, I mean, like you said, however unlikely, this theory is not impossible.
Not impossible, just improbable.
Right. It's like it's a probably not, but like never say never, you know, like Justin Bieber once said.
Never say never.
What a time when he was a strapping young lad just trying to make his mark in music history.
Yeah. Now he's a drug addict. I don't know. That's slander. I don't think that's true.
Did you we'll do a brief Bieber corner here, but did you ever watch the thing where there's these guys and they had a friend who looked just like Justin Bieber, so they dressed him up like him because Bieber was like really out of the limelight for a while, so they dressed him up like him in like a hoodie and like a bunch of stuff to kind of cover up his face so it didn't look like, so they couldn't see like the whole front of him. And they took pictures of him eating a burrito the wrong way. Like, you know, if he had it like lengthwise and just bit into the side of it. And they posted it online and it went fucking crazy viral. It's like Justin Bieber eats burritos wrong. Like, and it became this huge thing. Everyone was like, they were like, yeah, we got emails from like every fucking news outlet like existing. And it was all fabricated. It was just a joke.
That's hilarious.
So this has been this episode's Bieber Corner. Back to Bigfoot.
Oh, let's not make that a regular thing, though.
We've been bringing him up a lot lately. I feel like we brought up Justin Bieber at least once an episode.
No more. I can't do any more Justin Bieber.
So long and short of it, this one I'll give it a hard maybe.
Okay. Next up, hybrid. Okay, so basically, people who subscribe to this state that Bigfoot is a hybrid creature of two different hominid beings. Hominid being orangutans, chimps, gorillas, or humans. Mm-hmm. So that's, I mean, I don't see how that's biologically possible. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I've personally never tried to like inseminate a fucking female gorilla before, but I don't think it would go well.
Yeah, and this kind of leads me to think like not necessarily like hybrid, but the idea of maybe Bigfoot was a sort of like unnaturally, I wouldn't necessarily, maybe in some theories created, or an unnaturally born creature that they just kind of just abandon and let it kind of do its own thing. The fact though that it can breed is, and, you know, be able to continue its species is a whole other argument in and of itself, unless, you know, it's just some sort of some creature out there that was born with some form of gigantism. Or here's another kind of out there theory, but what if there was a like a child that was born who was just huge as fuck, and it was just, you know, back then when, like, if your child had like something wrong with it, no, not everybody out there is morally correct, so maybe they just abandoned the gigantic hairy baby in the forest, and or maybe see, like, it's kind of out there, but what if it managed to find a way to, like, you know, keep going and keep its species going and just evolved into something else entirely?
I mean, I would like that to be the case. That would be fucking cool.
It's a pretty far reach, and that would have had to happen like thousands of years ago. And at that point, I don't even think like society was society. So maybe it was just like an offshoot of mankind or something like that, that just the mutation just kept going and it just stayed where it is. So there's that maybe. But like I said, that's a little kind of far-fetched for me, even like having just come up with it.
Yeah, but we have to speculate. We got to think about it. You know, we have to like shoot the ideas out there, like,
Yeah.
you know, no matter how crazy they sound, because, you know, nothing's really crazy when you're talking about Bigfoot.
True. Yeah. Or it could also be, you know, lab experiment to create superhuman warriors. And yeah, they were big and strong, but they were just kind of like, you know, had the, you know, the mental capacity of like a gorilla, and, you know, they were breeding them. They were, you know, made a couple of them, and they're just like, fuck this isn't worth it. And they don't listen to us. So I'll just let them go. And that would explain why there's so little of them.
Yeah, that could be, man.
I don't know. Hard to say.
Hybrid, what do you think?
Yeah. So hybrid theory, Linkin Park album 2. I'm going to say probably less likely than the previous one, but not impossible, but far less likely. And this is sort of like, yeah, hybrid of two things, like, unless it was made in a lab, probably not.
I agree. Unless something happened way down the line, I think that you're right. Yeah. Okay, this next one's, in my opinion, kind of goofy. It just reminds me of that fucking movie from the 90s. Neanderthal. Self-explanatory. I'm not going to go into it. What do you think?
That's a hard no from me. I do not think it's just a Neanderthal that never evolved. Like, there's just no way. Like, because Neanderthals also, that implies there's a degree of humanity. Humans tend to flock to certain places. That's why we have most of our big cities in places where mankind would have flocked to the best. We need a source of water. We need a source of food, and, you know, all that stuff. And yeah, you could say we've taken all of them for sure, but like, there would have been nowhere for him to go. I don't think that a Neanderthal could have made it through the evolutionary line. I just don't think that would have happened.
I don't think that one's true either.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm going to give it a pretty solid, confident no on that.
Same. Okay. Now we're going to get into the more realistic explanations of Bigfoot. Okay. In my humble opinion. First off, he's a ghost. All right. That's the first theory.
Yeah. That's cool. I like that theory.
Now, some say that Bigfoot is a ghost, and now of what? I'm not sure. But 2 points I must make about this. It does align with my concept of the paranormal, that most separate entities of the paranormal are the same thing in different forms. Okay, right. That checks box 1. Box 2 is that it aligns with some Native American lore about Sasquatch being a spirit. Okay, those are my 2 points on that one.
Okay. My only problem is how they got it on camera. I feel like if it was a ghost, it would be a little bit less informal, I guess.
Like, it would be like more transparent.
Yeah, not even just transparent, but like, you know, I'd imagine it wouldn't be just that easy. You could just catch it just walking, because usually, you know, it disrupts camera work. We talked about before. When it comes to ghosts, there tends to be electromagnetic disturbances. Tech doesn't seem to work super well. They're not easy to capture on film, and this seemed just a little too easy, I think, for it to be a ghost.
I agree, but I like the fact that it does align with Native American lore with Sasquatch, because that's cool, and that's like it's a lot of the origins of North American Bigfoot comes from Native Americans, so that's pretty cool. So,
and I do think that's an interesting connect of like, something we are seeing that maybe came from previous appearances or something like that for the idea to come up. So
yeah,
that's interesting. That is interesting.
Next up, time traveler. Now hold on before you laugh. All right. Remember, we're getting into the good shit. We're getting into the real shit. All right. None of that evolution bullshit. We all know it's fake anyway. All right. It's just the theory that most scientists believe in. Doesn't mean it's true. Okay. Time traveler. In this theory, big feet are just holographic disguises that time travelers wear in order.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I'm not mistaken on this reaction.
Okay. And okay, big feet are just holographic disguises that time travelers wear in order to not get caught while traveling through time by the people of the current time.
But why go through all that effort if they look human anyways?
I don't know.
It's fucking no. There's no way, dude. Oh yeah, that's I'm gonna give that my stamp of not even close.
Yeah, that one was rough for me to believe in.
It's a nice idea, but it's just so impractical. There's just no way. And why live in the woods and why run around and eat people's fish in there unless they get stuck in that time and now they're just running around in a giant animatronic Five Nights at Freddy suit.
Okay, next one that is my second favorite, extra dimensional. Okay.
Yeah, I've heard this before.
Right. So in this theory, Bigfoot is an extra dimensional creature. Perhaps in another dimension, these beings are just as common as bears are in wooded areas. However, a crossover takes place, right? Some kind of disruption in our dimensional planes, which causes them to appear in our plane every once in a while. That might explain their elusiveness. That might explain their lack of seeming lack of number. You know,
well, there might be a ton and extra dimensional crossover. Like we've talked about this before, as it's kind of, and it gets that benefit of the doubt of being in that territory of something that we as humans don't understand or maybe are incapable of understanding, which is dimensional planes.
Right.
And science has technically proven that, like, you know, a fourth dimension does exist. At least I think so. We've proven it as much as we can, I think, but we can get kind of like a shadow of, like I said, we can view the shadow of what a fourth dimensional object might look like, but there's no way we can possibly perceive it because we don't have the senses for it. And it's just like, and what are the senses? I don't fucking know. We're 3D. There's only so much we can do. But there is this idea that there is more than this just dimension. And then that opens up the idea of, well, are there more third dimensions? So are there more places where things are in like 3D, but like, you know, just on a different sort of inner tube on the wires that is existence? Like, I don't know.
Yes.
A definite hard yes, huh?
Yes. I mean, that's what we base most of our podcast episodes on, is the fact that these different universes within universes, these different dimensions on top of each other, just at a slightly different frequency, creates a whole new existence. And that's the issue we're having here, is when those vibrations start to mix up a little bit, you know, when they start to get nice and taut
yet malleable. I think it's I do like that idea in that, like, it shows the fragility of existence, just like how we as humans, you know, despite our complexity, you know, if we fall and hit the curb wrong, we're dead. Like, there's also, we're fragile just as much as, you know, anything else. And we'll find every complicated system, it works extremely well, but all you know, just one piece is gone and the whole thing falls apart. I mean, the human mechanism, just pull out, like, you know, a lung and we're fucked. Like, we're in trouble, like, you know. And I like that idea of this sort of fact of life kind of permeating everything in that dimensions. For as complicated and wild as they are, there's a fragility to it, and all it takes is one little frequency mix up, and now things are starting to kind of mix together a bit. So I'm gonna say maybe.
I'm going to say hard yes. I think that this is a good, I think this is proper fucking theory right here.
I think it's a cool theory. But I think in terms of believability, it wouldn't be my number one choice.
All right. This is my number two choice in believability.
All right.
Number one choice right here. Ready, guys? Extraterrestrial.
Yeah.
Now, this is by far the most realistic theory that we have on Bigfoot, right? So in this theory, Bigfoot is either an intelligent race of themselves, right, observing humans, or they are the creation of aliens to watch us, or they were just a lab experiment that were done on humans, gone awry, and abandoned back to their place of origin, aka Earth, and then they've repopulated since.
I think if I were the part of this, like, I don't think they would be a race themselves, because how the fuck would they have gotten here? I mean, like we said, they're breaking into sheds and eating fish heads. Like, I don't think a creature like that could have, figured out interdimensional or interspace travel. Like, to me, that's a little ridiculous. Now, if it was an alien race who dropped off a lab experiment, I could kind of see that, but I think I would sooner believe it was a human experiment than an alien experiment. And plus, if you create a whole new species, I think you would get a little bit more recognition for it.
What do you mean?
Oh, yeah. If you create a new species, like, dude, that's like grounds for like a Nobel Prize, or maybe not a Nobel Prize, but that's grounds for like, you created a species. Like, that's like the, because I mean, it depends on like what the definition is of creating a species. Like, if it's just, they just spliced a bunch of genes together and then they had a gorilla gave birth to this like monkey thing, like, that's okay. That's pretty significant. That's like when they made the was that one thing? It's like a zebra and a horse like mixed together and stuff like that. Like, that was a big deal. Like, that's stuff that like, and not even in a like it's not even like an abomination that you might get scrutinized for. Like, that's something you would get a lot of people. The science community would be like, "Ooh, how the fuck did you do that? That's cool." And I feel like if it were created, I feel like there'd be a little bit more hype about it. It seems a little too low key for it to have been made in a lab.
Yeah, but we don't give Nobel Prizes to aliens though for creating species.
Well, that's not the point. I'm saying that if it was created, it was more likely to have been created by a human.
Oh,
and why would like
no? We're not
talking
talking about humans anymore. We're not talking. No.
So why would an alien just drive by? Hey, take our Sasquatch by.
Because they initially took us and did exactly what you said, but with their superior technology. They were able to pull it off, but they were like, fuck this. They can't even talk. And then they just abandoned the project, basically dropping them back off here, and they've repopulated, or they've perpetuated the species.
Yeah, but how would they do that if they only made like one or two, unless they made like a whole like group of them? But
bro, don't even tell me, man, because you can make a whole species you can only make a whole species with two. All right, remember?
Yeah,
Adam and Eve, dog.
So okay, so I hear what you're saying now, right? So it's they picked up a couple humans, they spliced them with their own genetics to create like a hybrid, and they turned into Bigfoot, and they're like, it's not the what like
it can't even talk. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, this thing's like dumb as hell, like, and it's just all it wants to do is eat, like, and they just abandoned the project, and instead of taking responsibility and disposing of it, they just threw it back on Earth and flew away.
Pretty much, yeah.
Pretty irresponsible. But there's like, why do we have to imply that because they're extraterrestrials they have to be responsible? So if they
responsibility, ethics, all that stuff is so different for every culture in this universe, man.
Right.
You know what I mean?
There's a grace that comes with humans that travel to space, astronauts, because that's a really, like, to us, space travel is such a like unique new frontier that, there is a sort of like, there's a tenderness that comes with it, and a sort of like, a level of responsibility. Now, if we're under the assumption that these aliens are, space travel is just like whatever, that it's just kind of a part of life for them, then okay, there's probably more room for some just irresponsible activity. And the fact that they're doing experiments enough to splice genes might make me think that there's a little bit more of an ethics there, and that they would sort of be a little bit less fratty about it, But I guess it's not impossible, but you have to be pretty not a lot of shits given to be able to do something like that.
I mean, I'm not surprised. In the Nightmare Hall in Dulce base, there's a whole wing dedicated to genetic experiments between animals and humans that the aliens run.
I mean, unless the aliens are trying to cover up a major fuck up or something like that, and they'd rather just be like, nope, sorry, it didn't work, all the subjects died.
Maybe, I mean, hey, it's all bureaucracy up there too, I'm sure, in their own little way. So they're probably covering their own asses, but
Okay, I can kind of see that of just like, this is kind of a resounding failure. And like, we don't want to present this because it seems like you'd almost want to present the failure than to just say well, I guess if you say they all died, it's sort of like, because it's also the fault on them. But maybe they just, I don't know, maybe there's something, or maybe the Bigfoot they created, it's like, it's cool, but like maybe because it breathes or exudes a certain thing that's maybe toxic to the aliens. They're like, we cannot fucking take this back and we need to get rid of these ASAP and they're too strong to kill. So let's just drop it off.
Yeah. So is this like your number one then?
No, I would not say that at all. I think the idea of it just, okay, I'm trying to think like, sorry, I'm just kind of scrolling back. I think it would most likely be kind of like with the
Gigantopithecus.
Yes. To me, I think that's the most likely. Do I think it's absolutely real? I actually think if they did exist, I think we just saw the last remnants of it and they're probably on their way out, hence why they're so hard to find. So I think in terms of if we're talking in actuality, what I believe, I think it probably best can be assumed that it was some sort of ancient, like I don't know what the ages are or anything like that, but something from like those big old ages from forever ago. I think they've been dying out gradually, and I think we just caught them like kind of at the tail end.
I'm going to say my number one is extraterrestrial.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. Yeah, you seem very proud of yourself.
Yeah, I feel proud, Matt. Second would be time travelers with the holographic suit. Third would be extra dimensional. And fourth would be Gigantopithecus.
Fine. Okay. Yeah. I think, okay, so mine, Gigantopithecus, is going to be my number one. Number two is probably, I would go with a hybrid made in a lab just because I think it's cool and fun. Next would be extra dimensional.
Okay.
Almost caught me.
That was Freudian. Yeah. Okay.
Extra dimensional, and then ghost, and then extraterrestrial.
Okay, that's fair. At least on your list. That's fair.
Yeah, it's a cool idea, and I think it has a lot of discussion. Like I said, as improbable as it may be, that doesn't mean it couldn't happen. I mean, there's a lot of cold cases, I'm sure, where a lot of things were improbable, but it's because you're looking at the probable that you miss what could be the truth.
All right. Yep. You sold me on it. You may as well just start working for Law and Order now.
But I think that was a nice little cherry on top, huh?
That was good. Now, you know what? Your rhetoric, a primo. It was good.
Woo! All right. Good about
that was it for Bigfoot, guys. I'm crashing. Let's wrap this up, man. Your boy's eyes are heavy.
Yeah, I was doing bad, but then I don't know, Nick, if you saw that like 2-minute eye rub session I did. I feel so much better after that.
I didn't see that. I missed it.
It was not noteworthy, but it was enjoyable for me.
Good. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed Bigfoot Part 2. That was fun.
Yeah, obviously, we didn't go every nitpick every detail because, like Nick said, it's sort of more or less the same story over and over again. Like there are you could get into all that stuff, but we wanted to give you the meat. It's been a while since we had like an actual episode, so we wanted to, really just jump into some discussion and some real stuff, give you something to chew on after waiting so long.
Yeah. So thanks for listening, guys.
Yeah. So that was really fun. Glad we were able to talk about it. And shit, now we actually have to think of like episode ideas again now, huh?
Oh, fuck it. We'll just do Ted Bundy or something.
Yeah. 2 more kickbacks. Yeah, maybe not. We'll try it out. But good news, though, is now that, we're off vacation, we're all back in our homesteads and all that stuff. We have, in fact, resumed the Count Chocula episode research. Still in the works. I know it's been a couple years, but like we said before, it's a hard nut to crack. Count Chocula is elusive. And if you've been keeping up with us, I know it's been a while since you said, but Nick and I have to encode everything we do. And to a point where I think we could only read like one letter at a time. So that's been extremely time consuming, but it's just, we can't let this trace back to us because if it was found out what we're doing, we might just get killed before, and before we can even get it out. And the problem is that we have a reason to believe that Count Chocula may have links to the NSA, which means the monitoring is even worse than we expected. So we, obviously they're not going to go out and say it or anything because they don't want to blow their cover. So it's just sort of this Cold War we have going on. So we're playing it safe. We're playing it careful. Count Chocula is coming out soon, and it's going to be it'll be fantastic, I think, for the entire human race.
Well, it'll save us all.
Exactly. But if you are listening on iTunes, if you could 5-star rate and review, that'd be super, super duper helpful. Your review can only just be one word that says it's good. Oh, that's 2 words. So just put good.
Oh,
and that would help a shit ton. So that'd be really cool. If you're listening on Spotify, if you click the follow button, you can get updated to new episodes every single Wednesday. Our Instagram is at CEOTPK. Our YouTube is Close Encounters of the Podcast Kind. Our Twitter is at CEOTPK1. Our TikTok is at CEOTPK. Our Facebook is Close Encounters of the Podcast Kind, or facebook.com/CEOTPK. By the way, all these links that I said and I'm about to say will all be on Facebook. Make it easy for yourself. Don't type shit in. Just click it. You can email us at ceotpk1@gmail.com. Our Discord is discord.gg/lowercase b, number 6, capital C, capital T, number 5, capital M, capital X. Our coffee is ko-fi.com/ceotpk. As you saw and heard today, we will do 1 request per donation. And, don't feel the need to. It's not essential. It's just kind of like a fun way. Our only way of really thanking you for sending a couple bucks our way. And I mean, it's all, you don't have to make us do anything, but you could also do a shout out if you want, or nothing at all. It's all up to you, but any donation is super appreciated. It goes right back into our hosting, which costs us like a monthly fee, and it's not a big deal. Nick and I, we're not, going homeless over this podcast, but any donation is appreciated.
Yeah, we appreciate the help, but just listening is a gift in itself, and you guys are just wrapped up nice and tight for us to open on Christmas morning.
I love the visual there. That sounded like a bondage fetish thing.
Yeah, I'm losing my mind.
Well, before our stomachs eat themselves to death, or eat our own body in our own flesh, yeah, just good shit. Glad we could tackle this big subject. Back to the usual schedule. Every other week is a full-blown episode with kickbacks in between because life kind of punched us in the face and we have a lot to do.
Yeah, buddy. But look, whether you think Bigfoot is a time traveler or if you think Bigfoot is at least extra dimensional, the truth is out there.
Yeah, or maybe you just think it might have just been a whole hoax this whole time and we're just wasting our time, but we had fun doing it. Or, it's just not. No, we're not.
Yeah, I just wanted to give you something to cut.
It is funny. It is funny. But we're not doing that.
All right, I'll pick it back up.
Okay.